Well, I don't know. Desmond Ridder coming in after the bye to guide the Falcons without Kyle Pitts to the Super Bowl. That's one of the all-time best.
Finally get Kyle Pitts the ball. Yeah.
Well, I don't know how he's going to do that with Kyle Pitts out for the season. Maybe next year in 2023. But here's the positive spin on this, folks. Desmond Ridder starting this week for the Falcons, and he was Theo's QB1 in what many are saying is the most underrated quarterback draft of recent years. It's just Desmond Ridder was the standout. Still all kinds of optimism for Kenny Pickett and Malik Willis and Bailey Zappi, like just an all-time great quarterback class, but it's headlined by the stud of all studs, Mr. Desmond Ridder. Theo, what am I in for the rest of the way with Ridder, and why were you high on him coming into the draft?
Ridder is group of 5 Trevor Lawrence to me. Like,
I love that.
He never lost. Like in college, Lawrence never lost, right? He just came in, win, won a title, won all these game. Like, he never lost at home or something like that. And then you get Ridder in the group of 5. Like, if the Power 5 didn't exist, and it was just group of 5, Ridder would be viewed like Trevor Lawrence. It's like, holy shit, we got this. Oh, I can't swear on the but we've got this, like, he's kind of built similarly. He's kind of lanky. He's tall. He's a little bit skinny, but he's kind of got underrated athleticism. Like the Jaguars.
He's got a face that looks 45.
Yeah. Lawrence is, I think, an underrated athlete. He's someone who can, they run QB power with him. They run all these different types of zone reads with Trevor Lawrence. Like, maybe he's not Michael Vick or anything like that, but he's got some underrated wheels. And I think Ridder does too. I think he has the fastest 40 time in the history of the combine for quarterbacks, or the fastest 40 time of any current quarterback starter, which is a little bit Mickey Mouse because Lamar never ran, Kyler never ran, Justin Fields never ran, but he's plenty fast, and he's got a similar build, and he had kind of a similar college profile with all the wins. And I think he does some similar things from, like, of all the quarterbacks in this class, I thought his pocket movement was the best, and his footwork, like navigating pressure, was the best. And I think that he had a good arm, maybe not a amazing arm. I think Lawrence's arm is probably a little bit better, but it's a good arm and can fit the ball in some tight windows. But the problem is, and his processing is pretty good. Like, he is someone who ran a real offense in Cincinnati. It wasn't like Matt Corral running RPOs every single play where it's like, first read or hand it off. It was actually like reading 1 to 2 to 3, throwing with some anticipation. I liked all that. And the weaknesses is the same as Lawrence, where sometimes his accuracy just is not there, and sometimes the precision is not there. And I think that was the one thing. I think Lawrence is starting to put it all together. I mean, if you watch the Titans game, he was kind of playing out of his mind versus Tennessee, and has a couple times over the last couple.
He made Evan Ingram look like Rob Gronkowski out there.
I mean, Evan Ingram, I started him in my fantasy.
So you won this week.
I won this week, but shout out him for doing that. But I think a lot of the weaknesses are the same. The question with Ridder is there's ugly misses all over the film, and there really was with Lawrence too. His rookie year, like, I love the pocket presence. I thought he was making the right decisions. I love the arm talent, but it's like, man, some of these throws are just not quite where they need to be. And I think that's kind of what you can expect with Ridder, where I think it's going to be like, oh, everything is kind of there, but the throw is maybe a little bit behind. The catch is maybe a little bit tougher than it needs to be. He needs to hone in that precision. He needs to throw with a little bit more touch, I think, and have the ball go up and then drop down in the intermediate areas of the field instead of maybe just like throwing bullets all over the place. This is something that a couple different quarterbacks in the league struggle with a little bit. And when they miss bad, because if you're trying to throw a ball into a bucket a ways away, you're not going to throw it as hard as you can on a line, right? You're going to try to like loft it in there, because when you throw it as hard as you can on a line, the misses, like, there's just less room for error.
Yeah.
And Lawrence and Herbert does this sometimes, and Ridder, all quarterbacks I like, but sometimes they just they have misses that look really bad because they're just trying to throw it as hard as they can because they've got this good arm. And I think that's what you can expect. And Lawrence played absolutely terrible his rookie year. I mean, he didn't play absolute terrible, but the numbers were terrible because the situation was horrible. I think if other people can hold up their end of the bargain, I kind of have high expectations for Ridder. I kind of have high-ish. He's a 3rd round pick. I don't think he's going to maybe set the world on fire, but I
He could
think
be like
that he's
Dak.
going to look all right. If he looks terrible, I would be surprised. Like Malik Willis, when he looked terrible, I wasn't that surprised because his sack rate was like 15% at Liberty, and he wasn't someone who accessed the middle of the field a lot. Like huge projects, like understandably big project, maybe someday, but like that to me, or Matt Corral, who just runs nothing but RPOs all the time to get thrown into like a real offense. Like there's an understandable kind of learning curve, a steep learning curve that if you get thrown into action right away, you might look bad. I think Ridder has a chance to look all right away. I'm not saying it's going to happen. In the preseason, there were some questionable decisions. He forced some things. The accuracy wasn't always pinpoint, but he also had some promising things.
He had a game winner.
So he had a game winner. Yes, he did. He did have that game winner. So I'll be interested to see what the Falcons offense looks like. Marcus Mariota can't run anything but play action. Like that was the case last time Arthur Smith coached him in Tennessee. Was like his play action numbers were way up here. His straight drop back numbers were like at the bottom of the league. So then he was just like, well, let's just build the whole boat out of play action. And I think with Ridder, he's a rookie, so it's kind of tough to judge, but there's a chance that you may not have to do that with him. I think there's a real chance that he's a little bit better at the straight drop back stuff. So maybe
it's also a lot bigger.
Maybe we'll see a little bit more. What?
He's also just a lot bigger. Like the size difference between Ridder and Mariota is vast when you watch them side by side.
Movement is too. Yeah, I think he's just a little bit more adept at being someone who can operate from the pocket, and I think that means big things for. Like I would hope next year, if he looks good, that means big things for Kyle Pitts, who obviously had 1,000 yards last year with Matt Ryan, and then this year completely sold my fantasy team in several leagues because he's blocking on play action. So I'm hoping it really unlocks the offense. I'm hoping he looks all right, and all these skill position players on the Falcons start to. Because I like Arthur Smith a lot. I think that he's working with what he's got, but I would really love it if Drake London could do more cool shit. And sorry,
it's hard when Mariota's
but it's hard when Mariota's the quarterback.
And
so I'm hoping there's just more cool plays from their skill position players, and a little bit more normalcy in the passing game.
It's also just Arthur's not going to ask you to do all that much. Like you watch every week. It's 15 balls is all we're looking at from Ridder here. He's not going to just hand over the keys to Ridder. Like Ridder is not going to be asked to do a lot. It's just more of like when we take the deep shots, can you be relatively close to Drake London? Can you be relatively close to whoever we target down the field? Like just be in the ballpark. Can you not fumble the ball when we need to just not fumble it? Can you do that a little bit better? Can you challenge down the field? Our defense is a little bit concerned about the stuff over the top. That's nice. I don't know. I'm excited to see what happens with Ridder this weekend.
I think he'll be better than Mariota. I really do think he'll be better than Mariota. I think like he's fast enough to do all the zone read stuff and add that little wrinkle in the rushing attack, which I'm sure Arthur Smith loves because he loves to just throw the kitchen sink at the rushing game and do literally everything: wind backs, zone read, gap stuff, zones. It's everything. So you can still do all that with Ridder, and I think because of his size and his poise,
6'3", 207 pounds,
right? You can do a little bit more within the pocket as well. So who knows? Maybe the decision making is horrible. Maybe the pocket presence doesn't translate. I don't know. But the thing I like about Ridder is I'm not at all concerned about his maturity. I'm not concerned about his poise because the guy he looks like a World War II veteran, and he just like seems like he doesn't seem like a rookie. He seems like he's been in the league 15 years and like made 2 Pro Bowls at one point, and is just like, it seems like just from a person, like you listen to him talk and you look how he looks, and I think that he's kind of an unflappable guy. He seems like a very
Smith said that where he's ahead of the curve. Like he's one of those guys who's a lot older. He's an old soul.
He is an old soul. So I like to think that he's not going to just be completely panicked, because I think he's kind of got this kind of inherent calmness to him that I don't see from some of the other rookies in this. Like I wouldn't expect this. Like Matt Corral seems like just this Gen Z Zoomer, like young guy, and I could definitely see when he's playing with guys who are trying to feed their families, right? It can get a little bit out of hand. Ridder has a family, man. Ridder has a daughter, so he's playing for his family too. You got.
Does he really? I didn't even know that.
He has a daughter. Yeah,
Okay.
he's a dad. He's been married. He's just like this old. He's a rookie, but he's like this old
Why
guy.
do I
So
feel
when
like
you look
he's
at his
the
traits,
all-time wins leader in college football? I think he's in the top 3 with the amount of wins
he's
he actually has. He's in there. He's won a bunch of football games. And like you said, the Lawrence comp I like too, because it's just like he won right away. They played him young, and he just always won for 4 years. Like the dude never wavered, and then got to the playoff in the final year, and was coached well in a pro style scheme with Luke Fickell. So very excited. I think it's gonna be fun, and I want to see what happens. Evan, who can win the NFC? Who in your estimation? We just watched the Vikings go down to the Lions this weekend. I think you're going to sell some Viking stock. You have the Niners, obviously. Is it the Eagles and Niners? Is that it? Is that the only two who can run the gauntlet? Do you have the Cowboys? Who can actually win the NFC based at this point in the year? Oh, Evan's on mute. You're on mute, man. You went away. No, still no. Well, what happened? Where did Evan go? No, we can't hear you.
49.
Yeah, just do.